Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero along with the other host,
Tristan Walter.
It was podcasts that killed the beast. I was going to say it now so we don't have to say it later. I think it was just I think it was just best. So, we're talking about King Kong 05. At the time, I'm pretty sure I was 13. Although if you were 12, I was probably 12.
No, I thought it was 07.
No. It was 07. You would have been 15. You said you saw this when you were 12 in middle school.
Well, yeah, no, I'm thinking, I would have been 12 in 07, because 05 was, I was 10.
Tristan, you were born in 92.
Yeah, I know.
And in 05, you would have been 10 years old.
Yeah, because I was in 5th grade, and is it 05? Or was that, am I remembering it wrong? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
In 1992, Tristan, no, fuck this. Fuck all of this. Tristan, in 1992 to 1995, that's 3 years of a gap. And then 05 added on to that is 13. So if you said this was in 07, you would have been 15.
Okay.
Which it wasn't in 07, it was in 05.
Okay, I thought it was in 07. You're right, it was 05.
No. Even if it was 07, you would have been 15. You are claiming, no, I would not have been 15.
Yeah, no. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tristan's been fucking with time rings, and all of a sudden we're fucking messing with timelines and shit.
Well, you know what? Just
calm down.
Look, if you were here to publicly humiliate me about my math skills, then you've been beaten to the punch.
It's not. Yes, I have been. It was math skills that killed the beast. No, look, I'm shitty at math too.
Yeah, in my case, yes.
No, I'm also really shitty at math. It just confused me because I was just like, did Tristan just make the biggest oopsie daisy?
Sure.
Anyway, but let's talk
you
about.
Didn't have to
let's
call
talk
me out. I'm a fraud.
Well, no. Let's talk about.
The police are coming for me. The only way I could escape was going onto a boat to my death. Oh, God, I didn't see that coming.
Captain, calculate where we're going. Oh, you thought I was good at math. We're going to die at sea. Fuck. So, okay, let's talk about what you do know for a second. Let's talk about what you do know. So, we've talked about this before with many different movies on this podcast. Dear God, the way they portrayed the native people of Skull Island. Look,
yeah.
I know it's called Skull Island for a reason. They're not going to be, Oompa Loompas dancing around. They call it Skull Island for a reason. But still, well, here's why it wasn't okay for me. Because it's an action movie, it felt like they were straight up just turned into superheroes. Like, even though the original was still bad, it felt like they were still people. Like, they were still, they were still depicted poorly, but they were still humans. But in this one, I'm like, okay, are they supposed to be, like, ancient warrior, kung fu like, no, like, when they were literally just used, like, pole vaulting to the ship, I'm like, okay, this is too much. I'm like, guys, like, you look at Peter Jackson, it's just like, he did Lord of the Rings. It was like, I think you're taking too much inspiration from your fantasy characters. Turning these native people into fucking superhumans. And more importantly, the reason why, Tristan, again, maybe some people are new, they haven't heard us talk about this before. So with what you know, with your background, you being more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am, why is this a really shitty depiction? Like, we don't just want to say, like, put a stamp on it and go, it's racist, and then move on. Like, there's actual facts behind the reason why this was bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's that stigmatism. I mean, of that time period where, islanders or other peoples other than being white would be looked at like, oh, they're savages. And
but of course, this was
their
made.
Their society is not as advanced as ours, and they're brutes, and all they know how to do is slaughter one another.
And here's the thing, right?
Not how societies work.
first of all, yes, that's not how societies work. But more importantly, it's the idea. Look, if this was when it was originally made, which yes, they were poorly. They were shown. They were what's the word I'm looking for? Not adapted. They were portrayed poorly in the 1933 version. But of course, we go, oh, that was made in 1933. But it's much different than something like Indiana Jones, where it's like this is like 50 years, later. Come the fuck on, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at this movie, and it's like, guys, this is 05.
And I don't mean to defend that kind of depiction because I don't like it either. But
no, like that's what I'm saying.
Jackson
we shit on
come at it from. He wants to portray it like the original story did, and that's why they did what they did.
Here's why that's bullshit, though. I'm not saying you believe that, but here's why that's bullshit. Why was everyone not calling? Like, okay, I'm just going to be very frank here. If everyone was saying, oh, this is how it was at the time, and that's an actual defense, people should have looked at that one dude, the younger kid on the ship, and been like, hey, you're an N-word lover. Because of his best friend being African American. It was 1933. In fact, everyone in one of those shows should have been doing blackface, which, weirdly enough, looking at some of the depictions of the native folk, like in the actual, like when Kong was chained up, I was kind of confused. I was like, were those white people doing blackface, or were those African American people, makeup was put on them to make it look like they were doing blackface? No, because it was hard to tell, and I was confused. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, that should also be a thing people talk about, but no one was talking about that online. So I was like, all right. At least from what I looked up. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at, Tristan, is the idea of like, oh, well, the time period, putting aside the fact that Kong exists. So like, putting aside that fact, right? Putting aside that, the fact that Kong even has like the special effects that were updated for 05, it's like, well, if you wanted to do it the way you did in 1993, then you had to make it stop motion. Like, things were changed, so it's like, why could you not have just changed those native people on the island? Now, that doesn't make me sit back and go, here's the thing, doesn't make me go, Peter Jackson is a racist. No. It's just that it was a shitty depiction, and in 2005, it's like, it's weird to be like, well, thank goodness we got it right with Skull Island. It's like, it wasn't even that far apart. That's like, what, 12 years apart?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a full.
Yeah, it shouldn't be being done anymore. Is the point? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
right. Because the thing too is like with the King Kong, the one in '76, even that I'm like, okay, maybe, right? But 05 is like, dude, like we're in the 2000s. Like they could have just not somehow.
Right.
You know, I don't know how. To be fair, I'll be fair. I'm not saying it should have been all peace and love like the 2017 version, right? I'm just saying that like. Right. It could have been done.
Depicted as bloodthirsty monsters.
Yeah, because in a way it felt worse than the 1933 version. I guess because of special effects, they made it seem worse to me. Like I was just like, dear God, like you didn't even, because at least in the 1933 version, they seemed like terrible people, but they still seemed like people. And maybe I'm wrong, but they still seem like people. In this one, it just felt as if. Like, if you had told me that this was a Marvel movie, I'd be like, oh, they're the alien race. They just did not seem like they were supposed to be people like all of us, like any one of us. So it was just odd. Yeah. And also, like, if there was some weird in-canon explanation, at least I'd be like, okay. But literally, it was just, whew, look at these guys, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, Like, everything else on the island is different, sure, but why do they have to, like, it didn't seem like they were doing any, like, spells or, like, magic or, like, weird voodoo or something that would be like, all right, with the word voodoo, there's some weird ties, but at least, like, there's still some, trying to do some explanation. No, it's just, we're just really super strong, and thank goodness the white man came to save the day to shoot all of us, because we know how that works, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, why? Why is this? Look, I don't want Jack Black's character to be killed, but I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Like, like in my head, not even just with them too, but even looking at depictions of Kong on the island, I enjoy, in a way, the Skull Island depiction a bit more, simply due to the fact that there were points where it felt like this Kong was getting it, like, oh, you are defending your people. So this man in my hand is defending you, your people. Oh. And then it just kind of went from that to, nah, fuck you, and throws him. And I'm like, Like, I feel like Skull Island Kong was always consistently being shot at to the point where it's like, all right, especially like with all of the military coming in. So it makes sense why he's like, nope, you all are shit. Fuck all of you. But in this version, there were points where it felt like he was looking at people a bit like how he did it in Skull Island. But, of course, in Skull Island, he was looking at them menacingly, and they were looking back at him menacingly. But in this version, it felt like there was compassion in their eyes. So you would think he would get it. Because, again, he's supposed to be smarter than the average bear. So, like, you think he's like, oh, he sees it. He understands it. Hell, he sees it in her. So he gets it, and he's just like, murder, and then kills him. And I'm like, I know it's an emotional beat we have to get through. Because, you know, him and the kid had this thing together. So, like, of course it's going to happen. But it just, I don't know. Like, it was just a thing where it felt like Kong was dumbed down in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Because there was a lot of compassion in his eyes, but only for her.
Yeah.
Which, of course, the romance angle, sort of, the beauty killed the beast angle, I get it, right?
Right.
But, but still, it just felt as if it was just, and hell, it didn't even seem like he wanted to protect the villagers, really.
Yeah, no, if anything, it felt more like Kong was not a benevolent god, he was more of a destroyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but I have to say, though, and tell me what you think about this, the CGI was really good, a lot better than I remember.
The effects were fucking amazing.
Yes, I think there were only a few times where I went, ooh, and they were very far in between. Like, when they're getting chased by a dinosaur stampede, there were a few moments where I'm like, it blends oddly. Like where Jack Black is running with the camera, and then so is Adrian Brody's character. I'm like, yeah, it's a little odd, but most of it was done really well. And even now, looking at it, it's not a Blu-ray copy because you and I are watching it through Netflix, but definitely it looks as good as it's going to look through streaming, in my opinion, unless you're like streaming a Blu-ray, copy or something like that. And it looked so good, and it just melded together well. Like, it didn't seem like the CG was out of place, if you will. Even with Kong during different times of the day, it just did not really seem like there were a lot of moments where I was like, okay, this is odd, this is off. Like, I think a few little things here and there is just having him shaking or having to have her character shaking a bit. That was kind of odd. Yeah. And also just even though we're supposed to have suspension of disbelief, kind of just the light switch flicks up. Like, Whiplash would have killed her.
Yeah.
That is too much shaking, Kong. Like, shaking okay, but too much shaking. Do not shake the baby.
Yeah, I really don't think she would have come out of that without brain damage. Just from the scene of her being carried away at the very beginning and running through the jungle.
I'm just saying a broken neck because of the fact that before the fight with the T-Rexes, which by the way, it just paid for my Netflix subscription this month. I was like, boom, that's why Netflix is here. So in this house because of Kong fighting 3 T-Rexes. But even before that fight, just when he's just shaking her randomly, I'm sitting there and I'm like, your neck would have snapped because he went up, down. And it was really confusing because I was just like, I don't want to be this guy, but she would be dead. But the effects were done really well. It's just, again, like the native people were not portrayed well, so that brings us down. And then you have a traumatic memory tied to this, which, yes, you do, which is fine because now.
That's who plays Anne.
What was that?
Naomi Watts. That's the actress who played Anne.
Anne, thank you. No, I knew Naomi Watts, but I didn't want to just say her actress's name when it's Anne. Yeah, so.
Right, and
no, Jack Black will always be Jack Black, but I want to make sure that so the traumatic event that you have, and now it will be a recurring part of my nightmares, involves the giant insect, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only imagine Jackson being like, yeah, there were dinosaurs in the old one. It's like, how can we, up the terror factor of this? Oh, would there be giant insects on the island too? Sure, let's sprinkle a little of that hell in here.
Well,
my God.
You were not 10, but still, you were not 10. This came out in 2005. You were not 10. But it was still terrifying, irregardless. Because here's the thing. Remember, I talked to you about this, Tristan. I, as someone who was born in the year 1992, just like you were, Tristan, remember that, and I saw Chucky when I was, I'm going to say 5, so that would be in 97. I'm still a little bit nervous. Like, not all the time. Like every now and again, I'm just like laying down. I'm just like, my closet door is ajar, so I'm gonna die tonight. So every now and again, it happens to me. So what I'm trying to say, Tristan, is you are not alone in your fear of bugs. It is not an irrational fear. As long as Chucky does not team up with the bugs, I think we're safe, though.
I mean, it's funny. Like, the insects themselves are terrifying, and I'm pretty sure there's a spider in there, too. So arachnid. But there's also that worm.
I think the worm
that got me.
The worm is the only thing that's terrifying to me, really, out of all of it, because the fact that it just, because you don't really see worms like that outside of, like, I think movies not like Dune, but, well, because because usually you see like sci-fi movies, like, oh, worms like that are like in the sand or something, but to just see it chilling on that island and then ready to eat all of them, I was like, well, Jesus H. Christ. Also, one thing, odd question, do you think that there was too much action at a certain point of the movie?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I kind of expected it to be an action thriller.
No. I'm not saying it shouldn't be an action thriller. What came off to me, though, is at every, and maybe it's because they jumped from different parties and, just different people on the island, but it kind of just came to a point where it was just like, oh, I just ran away from that monster. And then it's like, as you're running, oh, I tripped into a giant monster's mouth. Oh, but thank goodness that monster sneezed me up out of its mouth, so I'm fine. Oh, no, I fell into another monster's mouth. Like, I know it's an entire island of things ready and waiting to kill you, so obviously you are supposed to expect everything being there, waiting and ready to kill you. But at a certain point, it was just like, can somebody take a piss? Jesus.
Yeah, no, death lies around every corner.
No. And I get it. But it felt like legitimately every corner. Like, it got to the point where I'm like, are the trees alive? Is this evil dead? Jesus fucking Christ.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
To be fair, yeah. But,
from the film perspective, yes. I mean, I kind of wish there was a little more like, can I catch my fucking breath, please, Jesus?
Yes. And granted, again, it's not necessarily something that Jackson shouldn't have done in general, because it's a good way to look at the fact that, yes, the island is definitely absolutely terrifying. There should not be a point where you could breathe. Everything is ready to kill each other in this really shitty ecosystem thing they got going. But it was still a situation where it was like, all right, look, you got one thing trying to kill you, and I get it. And it was killed. Maybe, I get the part when you have Anne running away from, the giant salamander and then it's a T-Rex. So that part I kind of get. I do. But other parts of the film, it was just like, oh, no, Kong threw you guys off of the trunk. Did you survive that? A fair amount of us did. Excellent. Giant insects now. Are you fucking serious?
Although I have to admit, I loved when the rest of the crew came swinging in, machine guns blazing.
They did that multiple times.
No, to come and save them from the ravine. From the insects.
Yes. Yeah, no,
I'm pretty sure when I saw this with my father in the theater, I think I was 12. I'm just going to make it a running gag now.
No, you would have been class is just as close as you fucking been so far. So shit.
You're right. I was 25.
Oh, damn it. I was going to pick 25. Oh, shit. I
went to see my ye old pappy, and we went to see the King Kong in the theater, in the moving picture show. But yeah, no, when they swing in on the vines, machine guns blazing to come and save them from the hell that was that ravine. Yeah, there was definitely an audible squeal, sigh, yelp, cry from me. I don't know.
Yeah.
My dad looked over. Are you okay? I'm like, I am now.
But what matters
it's funny,
is this.
Because I think even my dad looked over like at me, and he's like, oh shit.
Well, I've scarred the child. Honey, we must make a new one. We've broken this one.
Oh God.
So
I've
here's
shown
something.
Too many giant monster movies. What did I tell you about that? I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. Hey, did you know Tom Hanks' son is in this movie?
Oh shit.
He's Jackson's right-hand man.
Oh.
Yes. He's the one that starts to he's the one that starts to feel like, kind of betrayed at the end, talking to Adrian Brody's character, where he has a scar on his cheek. So he's just like,
these men died. So he could have a sideshow attraction. My God.
What I was wondering is, when they were going to call Jackson out on his bullshit, where Jackson was like, because Jackson kept on saying stuff like, we are going to make sure to donate the proceeds to his family. And I was like,
right.
I was waiting for someone to be like, he didn't have kids, Dick.
Yeah, no, I was waiting for that too, just for someone to look him in the face. Tell me how many kids he had.
Mm-hmm.
You know? You fucking know? That's right.
And I think, and I would argue, I don't remember his character's fate, because, I don't remember his character's fate in the 1933 version, but I feel like in this version, I know that, Jackson was going for an almost shot-for-shot remake, not shot-for-shot, but a very close remake with, extrapolation on certain characters' stories and things like that, but he was going for a rather close remake, in my opinion. And yours as well, because we were talking about this a little bit before we began the episode. So we get it, but I do think that it does feel a little odd that Jackson's character, Jack Black's character, never really gets any kind of comeuppance, if you will. Now, I'm not saying he should be eaten by Kong, but it does feel a little odd that he does all of this, and there's definitely disdain. We're supposed to feel upset at him, and then he gets the iconic line at the end, and it's like the only one who suffered was Kong, which I know is part of the sadness of it all, but it just, there definitely should have been. It just feels like Jack, his character just gets off the hook completely. I mean, hell, it only seemed like the military / National Guard cared when Kong was coming loose, and it's like, look, I know it's 1933 and regulations are pretty shit, but if his character could potentially get thrown. What was it?
I feel like someone would have said something when the giant monkey came into port.
But even then, right, the fact that Jack Black's character, right, could be thrown in jail just by pissing a few movie moguls off. You would think, unless they paid people, you would think that unless they maybe paid some people off and invested in it, that the government would be like, that's a problem there with that giant ape. That's not we should not. But I get it.
Waiting to happen.
Yeah, and by the way, I get it. It's a movie. Shut up. I understand that. I get it. But still, it does feel a little odd that, Jack Black's character never really got his something, what was coming to him. Because he screwed a lot of people over, and not in funny Jack Black fashion.
Yeah.
No, because if he was screwing people over but was like, no, I'd be like, this is fucking hilarious. Classic Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it in a way where we're supposed to be like, boo, Jack Black, boo, this guy sucks. So usually a villain in a movie will get it coming to him. What is it? I don't know. Get a car thrown at him? get accidentally stepped on by Kong. I'm just saying, right? Like,
yeah,
something happens, but in this one, he just gets to just live. And it's like, okay. So I think maybe that's why the movie felt a little odd, I guess, at the end with the, even though it was a beautiful line, beauty killed the beast, I still wonder if maybe that's why I feel a little weird even to this day about that end. Maybe it's just like usually in a narrative, something bad happens to him. I mean, hell, look at, some other giant monster movies. Maybe some Kong ones, maybe some other ones. Usually, the bad guy or the person who, seems to be the bad guy or becomes the bad guy gets, you realize, oh, God, he was the bad guy all along. Bad things happen to him. They don't just get to ride off into the sunset, Yeah. So, yeah. How did you feel about the love story, and do you think that Kong made it a triangle, or do you not want to go there?
I do not want to go there.
Excellent. You made the correct choice. Oh, God. No. Wait. You don't know what I just heard.
No, you made the correct choice. Don't make the wrong one now.
In that moment, thousands of furries cried out in terror. Anyway, back to... There was but anyway, what matters is this, Tristan. How did you feel about the love story? Because I don't think it was done that poorly, but I do think that when you have a 3-hour movie, I feel like there wasn't enough time dedicated to it, even though I'm not saying there was no time, but
yeah,
I feel like it was more so like, oh, it just seemed very surface level. Like, hey, I know you just shit on me for like what I should look like, and you only like me for my work. So you're basically just a fan, but I have to say, you're beautiful. Like, it seems like that's as deep as they went. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, do you not like...
Depression. What do you want? No. No, I'm kidding.
I love how that's... I just want to use that as an excuse for everything. Just... Grandpa's racist. It was the Great Depression. What do you want? What?
Oh, or no, it's like, so let me get this straight, bub. You want to bring this giant ape into New York City for a vaudeville-style sideshow. It's the Great Depression. What the fuck do I care?
Question. I have a question. Could you imagine if Jack Black is like, listen, how about and shows you that it can do, like, it starts doing, like, Kong just starts doing vaudeville, like her, like, just falls and everything, and they're just, oh my God, how'd you get a giant suit to make him look like Charlie Chaplin? Hey, we got the budget. They're like, wow.
I mean, we will have the budget.
Yeah, right. So you don't, so then usually you're not a fan of romance in any movie, really, usually. This is another one of those for you then? Or were you able to tolerate it?
Yeah, I mean, I was too busy with the carnage to really pay much mind to it.
So then at the end when they're just... Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was rather... Well, it's funny, seeing it now, just her seeing Kong, like, slide off and fall off the skyscraper as he dies. And then just turning around and seeing him there, and she's like, oh, thank God you're here. I mean, granted, it's an emotional moment. I would kind of want someone to hold me, too. But at the same time, it's like, I know, we're not going, obviously not going to have a relationship with the giant ape, but...
Oh, no, Tristan. Ding, 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 ding. You went there. Well, now it's a triangle.
Oh, God. It's weird.
It's like,
all right? It's weird.
It's like Beauty and the Beast.
If they kept, basically.
No, not at all like that. Did you fucking watch Beauty and the Beast?
That's fair.
You You've at least played Kingdom Hearts. Jesus Christ, you should know this.
Beauty and the Kong. Wait a minute.
Beauty and the Kong. So he was a prince who turned into a giant. So he was a prince that turned into a giant ape? No, always been a giant ape. And you guys have always been colored.
Giant ape. That's
yes.
when I turned into a prince. Wait, what?
No, neither. Just so he's always been a giant ape. Yes. He's always been in the castle. Yes. You've always been colored. Yes. Why? What's weird about this?
Could you imagine doing an edit of them when they're in Central Park and just sliding around on the ice? It's just Beauty and the Beast.
Odd question. Odd question about that. You know more about apes than I do, in my opinion. Even though he is a giant ape, would he not be kind of pissed at being that cold?
He wouldn't be happy with it, really. But then again, he kind of gave off that vibe when, he's walking along the streets, like, trying to get away with her, and he's just like, I don't know what the fuck any of this is, and I don't like it.
That's
he
that's
seemed
obvious.
kind of scared by it.
No. That's obvious. Yes. No. Obviously, all the tech, all the noise. I mean, hell, the flashes freaked him out. But I'm talking about when he is in Central Park with her, and he is playing in the snow and on the ice. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know much about apes, but I feel like they're not a big fan of the cold. And with that much snow on him, I feel like he wouldn't be like, ha, 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 this is funny.
Yeah, I mean, an actual living ape would not be happy in that kind of climate.
Yeah.
But then again, we're also talking about the 30-foot one, so.
That's what I'm wondering. Is that cold to him? That's what is that cold to? I don't know.
It should be. Yeah.
Okay.
It should be.
Yes. What I also don't know either. What I do know, but I need you to clarify for me. Just prove that I'm right. When Kong smiles.
Okay.
When Kong smiles, my thought is Kong believes he is in danger. Is that true or is that a myth?
Depending on certain primate species, I think it's certain species. They like smiling is a form of aggression, not happiness like it is in us.
Sorry, not aggression. Sorry, I said danger. That's aggression. So the reason why I'm saying this though is because she does funny stuff, and he's like, haha, this is humorous, and I'm like, that's not how it works. That's the wild thornberries taught me this is not how it works.
Basically.
Literally. I don't know if you ever saw the wild thornberries, Tristan, but literally that taught.
No, I did.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even the biggest fan, but I just saw one episode where I think Liza. Is that Liza? Is that the? Yeah. She smiles, and the apes are like, oh, and her friend is like, what in the fuck are you doing? She's like, what? We're having a good time. He's like, fuck no. She's like, when do you swear?
Darwin.
When you put our lives in danger. Yeah, chimpanzee. Thank you. Yeah. Why are you? Yeah, because I could swear they said in the show it's a sign of danger, but I mean they were probably just trying to simplify it for my childlike mind. I was actually 24 at the time.
In the sense that they're going to come after you.
Yes. So when Kong was laughing, I was like, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I mean they made him obviously more humanistic when, him watching her flop around and laughing at it, which was kind of adorable, but also not sure if that would be actual ape behavior.
I mean, it wouldn't laugh. It would do so. I mean, you know what it is too. If you had taught it sign and had worked with it for years, from being a child, I'm sure it would chuckle because it knows the human thing to do. But because
this is, I think they kind of because in this movie they don't really specify it a lot, but you can kind of see other other giant ape skeletons, so it's kind of assuming that he's the last of his kind on this island, and that he's basically just a lonely kid. That's why he's so interested in Anne. He basically wants a playmate.
I don't know. Oh, God, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, I place down my bow chicka one and a banana chicka wow wow. No!
What?
It's like Exodia. No, because you were like, he wants a playmate. And I was like, I put down bow chicka, bana, patana, pachicka, wow, wow. And it's just like, no, it's like Kaiba getting destroyed by Exodia.
You know what I mean.
I know what you meant. But mine was funny.
Then why do
anyway.
you have to?
Because we could have kept it at the 2, and then you said what you said, and now we're in this triangle of weirdness. All I'm saying is this. What is wrong with Kong? Look at Adrian Brody. Look at that man. That man's adorable.
I was 5 when I saw this. I couldn't comprehend the love triangle.
It's fine. I was 6. This, but I got to say, though, I could swear, and you have a different view on this than I do, but I could swear people were shitting on this when this movie came out. Now, you have a different opinion. You were saying that people really enjoyed it.
I mean, I get, I don't know. I don't remember now. I thought, people enjoyed it. I mean, it's funny. Looking on IMDb, it's a 7.2 out of 10. Not sure how many opinions that incorporates, but, hey.
But even then, IMDb, that's not... No, remember, I'm saying how many people liked it in 05 or 06.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's different because I can vote on that right now. So, that changed...
Okay. It's over time. I see. Right.
Yeah. No, it's not a time capsule. It'd be nice if it was, but it's not a time capsule. No, but this movie did very well at the box office. It didn't originally, which was interesting. I think I was reading up online. Its first opening weekend, executives were like, oh, no. Because they spent so much money on this thing, a lot of money. They were like, oh, no. And then by the, 8th week, they had made back more than double their budget or something like that. And it was just like, yeah, you guys are fucking fine. Chill the fuck out. And then on DVD, it did very well. So I think it was top 8 or something like that that year or something along those lines. So it definitely sold well, but I didn't know if people. I know it sounds silly to say. What do you mean you don't know if people liked it? Trying to find ways to watch it online without paying. I'm not saying that you should do this. We're much different then than they are now. Or seeing it on a streaming service is much different than it was then. Back then, yes, you had to read reviews, but also some people were like, let me pay up and see if it's good. And then they were bamboozled, and they're like, well, this is shit. And then you have a copy of it in your house. What do? You know?
Right.
So, because it's still 05, so there was no streaming Netflix. I'm pretty sure Netflix was around as a physical DVD service, but I don't believe Netflix was streaming at the time.
Right.
There were no red boxes, I think. Obviously, Blockbuster was... I'm 13. Blockbuster was around, hell yeah. But, so you could have rented it at Blockbuster. And I believe it did well rental-wise as well. So, yeah, I'm just saying that, I think it's a situation where when it came to Kong, I thought that people weren't the biggest fans of it at the time. Again, might be super wrong about that. Either way, I do enjoy it now, I think, more than I did when I was younger.
Right.
So, yeah, how do you feel? Do you still feel do you feel like it held up? Because did you enjoy it when you first watched it?
Yeah, I did enjoy it when I first watched it. With even with being slightly traumatized by it.
But do you think it held up?
Looking back, the T-Rex, yeah, I think it still holds up. I mean, other than the points that we've pointed out already.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's still a good King Kong movie.
Yeah, no, I think if it wasn't 3 hours, I would tell someone to watch this over the 1933 version. Because the thing is this, right? So 1933 version, for some people, they're like, no, the effects are that bad. I don't want to see this. That's how some people are. It's black and white, never mind. But then if I tell them, well, here's one from 2005 and it's 3 hours long, they're like, how's Skull Island? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like the length of it is kind of killer, especially because while I don't know what should have been cut, because the villagers, they should have been cut just because, right? Just because of what we've said.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But if they were going to be in it irregardless, I don't know if they should have been cut necessarily to bring the film down, shorter. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit hard to know what should have been cut from my end, but it does feel like 3 hours is a very long time. And it definitely felt like there were certain, maybe it's because I've seen this more than once when I was younger and also seeing the 1933 version, but there were certain parts of the movie where I feel like I didn't even have to look up to know what was going on.
Right.
So what I mean by that is it felt like things were, I'm not going to say slow or snail's pace, but it definitely feels like there were certain shots that were left there that it's just like, you couldn't have cut that a little bit? Someone?
Yeah.
Couldn't just
it's
shorten that a little
funny.
bit?
I do like how they kind of built up the world a bit. Like, you saw a little bit of New York and you saw a little bit of the, Great Depression and just how On basically got into this mess.
Yeah. So that I agree with, yes. But it just, I don't know how to describe it. I think it just was a very long movie, so it's very hard for me to tell someone, yeah, watch this movie, it's 3 hours long. I feel like they would just gravitate towards the newest Kong, which, by the way, was really fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta say, after having, I'm so happy that we're not going to, review Skull Island again. We've already reviewed it. But I have to say, though, after what, Hollywood has done with King Kong over the years, it was so nice to have Skull Island just kind of do what they did and not really focus on New York as much and just kind of focus on Kong as a threat because, and Skull Island. Because, my God, if they would have done all that shit again and it would have upped it by another, half an hour to an hour, it just wouldn't have been worth it. I would have said, because you think about it like this, right, Tristan? You have the 1933 version, and then you have this, which is a pretty darn good remake.
Yeah.
Right? It just feels like they updated the effects and they increased some characters', depth a little bit. At this point, it's like, if you're going to make it again, don't do the same shit again. It's been done twice.
I feel like that's why they really went for a different angle for the newest one. Cause, it felt about time you got to mix things up a little bit.
Exactly. Also, I have to say something about Anne's character that I really enjoyed. I love that she feels like she isn't out of place in an old-timey movie, just the way she looks. Just something to Naomi Watts and to the casting director, the actual casting director, not Jack Black. But also at the same time. Right, at the same time, because she's just this everyday type of person. She was literally close to living on the streets before Jack Black's character found her. So she's just hanging around with the guys, just dancing and stuff like that. There's never a feeling that she isn't, cool with them, or they aren't cool with her, which is nice.
Right.
They could have easily went with a creepy angle, look at the broad on board. And it's nice that they didn't.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that they couldn't have, by the way. It would have been, like you mentioned earlier about being time appropriate, would have been very time appropriate if they made shitty comments. But, it was nice to see some camaraderie with them.
Right.
It definitely makes the deaths later a bit more horrible. By the way, did it seem like there were just a lot of people on that ship? It seemed like, I know that there has to be to keep everything going, but you had Jack Black being oh, it's not that big ship, it's actually this one over here. And then when everyone gets dropped on the island and have people coming in, running in, saving the day, I'm like, how many people were working on that ship?
Right. How many people were killed on that island? Because at first it's just the first guy who got his skull caved in, but then after that it's like, well, get your notebooks out because the death toll is gonna fucking skyrocket.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, it was also the guy who got impaled.
Right.
But then, it just goes, because he was impaled first, and then it was just like, oh, no. And then, for some reason, they were like, we're going to bash their fucking skulls in. Why? We don't, we're just here to do it. It was just so odd. It was just like, you want to sacrifice the girl, so be it. That is what it is. Kong is Kong. Kong will Kong. But just them bashing in their heads with we must feed the blood to the blood stick. It was really like a blood staff. I was like, okay. But anywho, so it's a lot of people died on that island. So then you wonder, how do they even get back? Even putting aside the fact that they had to put Kong on that little fucking dinghy, not the one they were riding in.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Not the one they were riding
in. They had enough of a crew to fucking keep the ship running.
To drag Kong onto the ship. Like, I know, suspension of disbelief, but at this point, it's just like, all right, they got to New York, fuck it.
Funny. Like, I feel like they showed that slightly in the '93 when, like,
yes,
came on a raft, and,
yeah.
like, it was silly. But it's hilarious that every other movie, it feels like, and I haven't seen the '70s, but, like, I've seen these two. I mean, this one. They always conveniently skip the, how did we get him onto the boat?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
which is why, again, I'm happy they steered clear of that with the newest one, because
like,
it's just
Carl
a
makes
bit
the
much.
point, like, oh, you're an animal, you capture animals, but, like, granted, I don't know what kind of animals he was capturing, but I feel like that boat was not equipped to carry Kong. Yeah, maybe just me.
Well, here's something else I found funny. Not just is the boat equipped to handle Kong. It seemed as if they showed, maybe I wasn't listening properly, but it seems like they showed off his role of, hey, you're good with capturing animals, right? Way too late into the movie. Like, I don't remember them saying that's the reason why he was there within, like, the first 20 minutes. I don't think they sold him, like, oh, you're a master. Like, I don't think they said you're a master tracker, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But it seemed like it came so late into the movie, I was confused. I was like, wait, are you just mentioning this now?
I feel like it was kind of conveniently inserted, but it may have been, like, mentioned.
Yeah. And I'm just crazy.
But yeah.
Could have been that. Oh, by the way, when they lost the map, I was like, are we serious here?
Like, just before they were going through the fog?
Yeah. Just the fact that it just...
Later on.
Well, when they see Kong's face, and they're like, ooh, that's a face, and then just the wind just drags it away.
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
okay.
Right.
Okay. So,
I mean,
yeah.
They're basically there.
Fair. How'd they get back? I mean, how'd they get back? They don't have a map. They don't know. Also, they're... So, yeah, I'm confused. So, just like in every other... Just like in the myths of, like, the Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that, the magnetic pull fucked up their compass, right? They weren't being pulled in a direction. They just didn't know where the fuck they were going.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because they were looking at their compass. They were like, what's going on? Look at the stars, man. There are no stars, Captain. Well, goodbye, everybody. It's been nice serving with you. Shoots himself in the face. I'm not living to see what's coming up next.
Howdy.
God damn it! The kid was reading Heart of Darkness. That's funny.
Yeah.
As they're going into.
Oh yeah, that was the thing.
The fucking.
I love how the first mate basically looked at him. He's like, "It's not an adventure story, is it?" No, it's not, Jimmy. We're going to go on that island, and we're all going to die.
Hooray! There was a few different things from this movie that were very interesting, like a few little nods to the original. One of them, if you remember in the car when Jack Black's character was consistently talking about different people that he was looking to cast at the time for the role.
Right.
One of them was the actual lead actress in the original 1933 movie. He says her name.
Oh, right.
And then they go, and then his, Tom Hanks' son, his cohort says, no, we can't get her because she's doing a picture right now. With who? RKO Pictures. And it's funny because RKO originally made the 1933 King Kong.
Right. Nice.
It was, God. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He didn't say, I don't know if he said RKO, but he said the director, and it was the same director, and he goes, damn it, RKO. And it's just kind of, also funny because Randy Orton, WWE, does the RKO. So every time I hear RKO Pictures, it just kind of makes me chuckle. But anyway, so, and another thing, too, that was kind of sad. So there was, this would have been beautiful, I think. The final scene in the movie, and I wonder maybe if that's why they kept Jack Black's character alive, the final scene of the movie was supposed to have the original actress saying that famous line, who played Anne's character, but sadly she passed away, I think, a few weeks before filming, or at least filming that scene. So it was very sad because I do wonder if maybe there's an original draft or something, or an earlier draft, that has Jack's character dying horribly. I mean, I'm just saying it makes sense.
Right.
I mean, it just makes sense. Like, why would he not? You know?
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, I feel like he either got locked up somewhere after that whole fiasco, or he basically just fades away into obscurity and, you know, changes his name, changes his address, leaves New York, that kind of thing. Like, he would never be able to do showbiz in New York again. Everyone would know him. It's like, yeah, that's the guy who brought the giant ape into the goddamn state.
Pretty much. I mean, he was in all those pictures. Literally.
Yeah, right.
Oh, by the way, I love how
much you want to bet those other guys were like, we need to burn these! We need to burn them immediately!
How funny is it? 1 minute, right? 1 minute, they're all sitting around. So we're going to throw him in jail, right? Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we? The next minute, Jackie, baby! Hey!
Yeah.
Literally, they're all
How
fucking
you doing?
big. Oh, my God. They're all there with girls around their arms. Yeah, no, but they're all there with girls around their arms. I'm like, you guys are all dicks. Fucking hate all of you. No, because it's all about the money. It's all, literally, Jack Black's character could steal the boat, steal all the equipment, take the crew, not pay any of them 1 cent, or rather give them any return on their investment. And they've invested a lot. According to them, they invested something like $40 million, which, again, think about how much that is in 1933.
Right, yeah.
So they invested all that money, and he just had a few roles, and they were like, you're going to shoot on the lot, right? He's like, no, on location in Singapore. Wink. Why is he winking? What do you mean? We're going to Singapore. Wink. Why is he winking? And, like, they were just close to arresting his ass. And now all of a sudden, well, I mean, he has this fucking beast. This is going to put butts in seats, which, I mean, I'm confused. Was that, like, their first show? Because you would think The Flashing would have made Kong go berserk, like, the second it started happening. So was that, the opening night?
Yeah, no, that was definitely opening night.
Okay. Also, I got to say, the integrity of Anne, because I thought she was going to be there maybe to support Kong, maybe become, this famous person she wanted to be. No. Just was working. Yeah, was just doing ballet. No, but it's just I don't know. Like, I expected her to be there, especially because he says her name, and when it was just some woman screaming, I thought it was like, oh, Anne didn't feel up to it tonight, and it's like, no, she never agreed. He offered her a lot of money. I mean, dear God, of course he did.
Even Kong is just like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah, right. You think you put blonde lady in front and me no? Me not know? Me no. Oh, me no.
Like, I love how, Driscoll fucking scoffs at the, first guy that walks in, the actor that he brought to be the hero of the movie. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then Anne's not there, and him and Kong are just like, are you fucking serious?
I love when he sees him in the crowd when Kong's ripping shit up, and he looks at him and he's like, it's been a while.
Right. Oh, you. Oh, shit. Like, he says, oh, shoot, but it's like, oh, shit.
Well, Kong gives him this look like, you hurt blonde lady. I'm going to murder you. Because Kong's vision of...
Kong's looking at him, it's like, you're the one who led me out there, past the wall to begin with. You're the one who took her away in the first place. Oh, I got a special ring of hell that I'm going to send your ass to.
Well, it's not just he took her away. Like, to him, he saw it as she didn't want to go. She is being kidnapped. They are hurting her. Exactly. Because she's screaming. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's just like, blonde lady screaming. Me no like her angry. Me murder. It's like, Jesus, Kong.
My new friend is screaming.
Yes. I must murder all of those who make her screaming. Kong, you make her screaming. That deep. Too deep for Kong.
Oh my god. Kong not on that emotional level yet. Give Kong 5 more years. Kong's be more mature.
My God.
Why are we speaking like this?
I mean, it was funny for a second, and then we kind of like just crush it into the ground, like how Kong crushed those people, some of them, into the ground.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Let's look at all the deaths for Kong. Like, there was people he threw off into the distance. There were people he smacked into walls. There were people he stepped on. Then there was that one guy who he picked up and bit his head off and threw him into the water. Threw people off a tree. Threw people off a boat. Threw people out of their seats in New York.
Here's the funniest one, though. Can we go with the funniest one for a second, Tristan? The funniest one, which I don't think is technically a death, because maybe she fell into, like, you know, a pile of mattresses. But when he picks up a woman and he's like, "You are not Anne," and just tosses her gently.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm sure she landed on something soft. I'm sure she
It was just because the thing is, like, they were far up enough that, like, she would definitely break something, but she wouldn't be dead unless he threw her, which he didn't. He gently tossed her aside.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh my god, it was terrible. So just gently tossing. So yeah, this movie, I really think that it does stand up with, again, we're only talking about, you know, the plot and the special effects. Obviously, when looking at some other stuff in the movie, it definitely was problematic, to say the least, especially, again, just due to looking at the year it came out. Because, this came out in the 70s. This came out in the, 30s, 40s, 50s. I get it. But in 2005, it's just like, really, guys? Like, even if that part was taken from, like, a script that was being worked on in the 90s, because you know how movies like this are. Everyone wants to get a piece, and then people start writing it like it's a game of telephone. Even if that part of the script was in there from, like, the 90s or something, still should have been removed or changed somehow, in my opinion. Like, just the part with the natives, not only just being that way, but looking like that. Like, I don't know, like, somehow the depiction of them, in my opinion, on stage was less offensive than them on the island.
Right.
Is that possible somehow? I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah. The set pieces, though, I have to say, speaking of good things, the set pieces were amazing. Like, seeing the giant wall and how it was done, like, it was, and seeing them, like, it truly felt like they were on location. Like, it never felt like they weren't on Skull Island.
Right.
Like, I'm sure they were probably in some studio somewhere, most likely, but it always looked like they were on an actual island. Not trying to knock Skull Island, of course, but, you go back far enough to, like, the 1933 version, you're like, yeah, this is all a lot,
Right, yeah.
We have a backdrop here, and that's how we're overlaying this footage on this, but, like, it's all a backdrop. In this case, it just looked as if they were truly on an island and they were fucked. So a lot of money had to go into the creation of, of these props as well and stuff like that to really make it look like they were where they were supposed to be, which I know some people will go, but that's any movie. But no, but sometimes in a CGI'd movie, especially with as much CGI as this one had, it would look like a complete mess, them being on the island,
Right.
Like, it wouldn't look like they were even there. It would look like they were just in some factory somewhere with green screen all around them, like a cube of green screen, But
yeah.
It didn't look that way to me. Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So, question to you. So I asked you if the movie stood up. You said yes. Like, stood the test of time, or at least, like, entertained you as of this time as well. What is your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, it's definitely the fight with the T-Rexes and Kong. That's hands down the best part of the movie.
I agree. The answer is that was the correct answer.
Speaking of which, that's also a nod to the original 33. Like, the last T-Rex that he fights, when he breaks its jaw, the way he breaks it, and even the way he, like, moves its head around to make sure it's dead, it's mimicking what Kong did in 33 as well, which I thought was a really cool nod. especially for that fight.
Oh yeah, no, it looked beautiful, and it's that I think the one scene originally when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, even like I told you, some of the movie, I don't know why I wasn't the biggest fan when I originally saw it, but seeing that, I was like, oh, I am fan. I was like, this
funny,
is good.
Like like bits of that fight were in the teaser trailer, and that was basically why me and my dad went to go see it.
That might be why I saw it as well. Then, now that you mention it, that probably would be why I saw it. But
I mean, my dad had seen King Kong before too, but like seeing that,
of course,
yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys always see the newer, versions of kaiju movies and stuff like that. Like we've talked about this before. You guys saw Godzilla, you saw Skull Island, 2014 Godzilla, and the 90s one as well.
Yeah, and 2000s.
You mean
just going to the theater wise.
Wait, what?
I mean, like, it was, Godzilla 2000, but Godzilla Millennium, I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, they released that in theaters. I didn't know. Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, I didn't know that.
I think that was the first legit Godzilla movie that I saw in theaters.
Nice. But what I want to look up here is the person who did the motion capture for Kong, Andy Serkis.
Right.
Andy Serkis is amazing. So if you don't know who Andy Serkis is, Tristan, buckle the fuck up. So he was Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and in The Hobbit. He did the computer-generated motion capture work for Gollum. He also was obviously King Kong, as I mentioned. He was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes reboot. He was also, he was Snoke in the Star Wars, in 7 and 8.
Yep.
Let's see who else he was.
Man's done a lot.
Yeah, he was in Black Panther as well. Oh, actually, he was in Age of Ultron and Black Panther. Okay, cool. Forgot he was in Age of Ultron. Yeah, no, I didn't know if you knew about Serkis's work because he's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, dude's a legend.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that he was, because I think he did a good job as Kong. Kong definitely, and it's funny that he did Kong and then he went on to do Caesar from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. So, that was one thing I wanted to ask you. What did you think of Kong himself? In the fact,
do you mean his how he moves? What do you mean specifically?
Or even how he looked.
Oh, I thought I mentioned he looked great. He blended in well in most of the shots. He looked amazing. I loved his look. I mean, obviously that's the best that they could have done in 2005 as well. So I can't ask for the moon when it's 2005.
Right.
You know.
But
so
it's funny the way I look. They really went for the fact it's he is an ape. He is not nondescript. He was a gorilla. I should say specifically. He literally is the spitting image of a gorilla scaled up. Whereas most other movies, he is giant ape, nondescript species. So I thought it was interesting that they went strictly he looks like the spitting image of a gorilla.
Do you don't think that was the case in the Skull Island 2017 adaptation?
I mean, here, let me look at him again real quick. I feel like he was still a little less, he was a little more nondescript.
Right. So, because I honestly don't study it enough to know, so that's why I'm deferring to you on this. I like his look a lot.
I wanted to see if you I don't know if you noticed the difference.
No, he definitely walked a bit more. He was a bit more animalistic, but I'm not saying that it was done in a way where, because I do think that in Skull Island he was smarter in a good way, because he's supposed to be a smart cookie and learn. I mean, that's what animals do. He's not supposed to be some big dumb ape, quote unquote. So I'm not saying he was dumb here. Clearly he had compassion. Clearly he cared. But again, it felt like it was only for Anne, which is kind of like an obsessive love thing, which is kind of weird that we mourn him. Granted, he's an animal. So, and look, I'm not saying I wanted him to die, but it is a little odd. It's with such an obsessive love thing going on, and we're supposed to be like, oh, poor guy. It's like, it's a bit different than like if your dog loved you and was like big enough to fucking pick you up and run away and like kill anyone who even looked at you. It's like, I wouldn't be like, oh, Scruffy. Oh no, I'd be like, good God, Scruffy, please put me down. Do not carry me up to the top of the Empire State Building, Scruffy. Please don't do this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like they gave him a bit more of a human element in Skull Island. Like, not by much, but he does feel a little more humanistic than specifically ape-like.
Yeah. It doesn't detract from this movie necessarily.
Oh no.
It's
no.
It's just
an interesting idea. Like, they went straight up, make him look exactly like a giant gorilla, as in altering him slightly to make him a little more, I don't know. Well, no, yeah, he is still pretty ape-like, and I'm looking at the trailer for Skull Island, but
that's fair.
I don't know.
No,
I guess it's the way he carries himself. He's more upright. He's not doing as much knuckle walking, which is what apes usually do. Granted, they can walk upright a little bit, but it's not their preferred method of travel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, because when it comes to his looks, he definitely looks like you said, an ape scaled up. It's when he's acting in certain ways, again, like, it's nothing against circus here, it's just what they're telling him to do. He has to do things like smile and just do certain things that, like, an ape who has never come into contact with humans before would not be doing those things, in my opinion. Like, your vaudeville act is funny.
Yeah, right, when he's laughing at her, or even when he's ignoring her. Like, oh, that's not funny. I'm not watching you anymore. This is stupid.
That was funny.
Like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It feels like they went for, like, humanistic bits, but in different ways in each interpretation. And that's nice in a way. Like, it's good to see people going for different things in different films.
Definitely. So, I don't have to ask you what your least favorite part of the movie is.
Yeah, you already know what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm thinking.
I had to skip over that bit. Like, I can remember what happens. I know what happens.
Yeah. Oh no, it's been burned into your memory.
Stamped into my brain. So, like, when that part came up, I'm like, all right, when does that come up? Okay, timestamp that. Skip it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, again, you've already seen it. It's not like you missed much.
It's not even a long scene either. It's only a few minutes, but holy fuck.
It's just no, that's fine. It's just terrifying. Anyway, so so I'm trying to think because I don't know what my least favorite scene is. I guess I would argue maybe the scene at the end when they're just embracing each other on top of the Empire State Building, because first of all, the wind should have knocked one or both of them off. Secondly, the fact that I guess I understand, like, through that traumatic experience, maybe why he would never confront her about, them liking each other or loving each other after the island. I guess I get it, but it also is kind of just a bit too melodramatic, even though the scene where he's watching his own play and he's seeing what they're saying and he, even says, I forgot what word he said specifically, but it was just that whole thing, like, I don't know, it just really hit me. So that, like, mattered to me. I was like, ooh, that hurts. But I don't know, it just, even the fact that he just didn't tell her, it's like, well, why wouldn't he tell her? Well, because life got in the way. It's like, I mean, I guess it's 1933. You don't have texts. You don't have Facebook. I guess you could go, well, hey, how do you keep in contact? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I just feel as if it's weird that they drifted apart when she didn't even do the show with Kong. You would think that would do it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I guess I would just chalk it up to, like, it was kind of traumatic, and I don't know, like, it's like being with you is great, but also reminds me of all the shit on that island, and I don't think either of us wants to think about that ever again.
That's true.
I don't know. That personally, that makes sense to me.
Yes. So, that's fair. That's fair. So, but I think, I don't know, I just think that, like, I guess because I also mentioned I don't think that it was done, the romance was really done as well as it could have been. So I think maybe because of that, I'm also sitting here like, look, it's not as bad as like Broderick and, in Godzilla and the other, that was terrible. So this is obviously better than that, but I don't know, it still feels like there was still something off about it. So maybe that might be my least favorite part, especially because we're really supposed to be focusing on the death of Kong, and it's like romance, and it's just like, but Kong though, that was sad.
Kong's just like my God, I just died.
Yeah, literally. So that's.
Can we please focus on me for a little bit longer?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not saying that the romance shouldn't have been there. I'm just saying that I don't think it was built up enough because that could have been. That would have been my least favorite part. I'll say that much. So of the film. So. Yeah, no, I just think, if you're going to put it in there, I want a little bit more or I want none of it at all. So, like, one movie that had none of it at all, and it was a kaiju movie, was Pacific Rim. And my God, was I happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because it just makes sense, Not everything has to be a romance. So,
exactly.
Yeah. I'm thinking anything else in particular that kind of sticks out. I think that, because again, 3 hours is a long time. And it's funny because, Peter Jackson, who worked on Lord of the Rings, you and I joke, because you'd made a joke like, it's like Lord of the Rings, but with Kong. And I'm just like, he directed this, right?
I mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Matt, I know he directed this. That's why I made the joke.
I didn't know if it was just a general long movie joke, because that's the general long movie joke I always go for. Like right now they're doing a thing in theaters right now, legit, where it's like, you can watch every single Avengers movie. They're doing that right now as we're doing this recording.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can see every Avengers movie in a row, which I forgot about doing. But here's the funny thing: in another adjacent theater, they have the same 3-day event going on for all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, just one per day. Just takes up, the first one takes up the whole day, and then the second one takes up the whole day, and then the third one just takes up the whole day.
Nice.
It's a 3-day event with all 3 movies.
That's awesome.
Why aren't you laughing? One movie takes up 24 hours. It's a long movie, jokes, Tristan. Did you do that to spite me, or did math break down again?
Look, Lord of the Rings left a really great impression on me when I was 2, so you know what? I mean...
I was -5 when I saw the first movie.
God damn it.
Jesus H. Christ. Anyway. I feel like, what else do we have to say about this? Are we at the end of our podcast already? Or do you have any notes? Do you have anything you want to share with the class? No? I guess not?
Right. No, I know we kind of mentioned it before a bit, I think, but when we were talking about like going from one action scene to the other and not having a chance to catch our breath, like that was definitely in when Anne's running away from Kong the first time, and then she bumps into the lizard. And she gets away from the lizard, escapes into the log. And then there's 2 centipedes, the one literally looking at her, and then one just crawls up her back.
I thought that was what you were talking about at first, because I thought there were going to be a ton around, and then it didn't happen, and I was confused.
That was just to give you the cue. Oh, by the way, there's big-ass insects on this island, too.
Right. So, yes. So, what about that scene?
And then, of course, she finally, she gets out of that hell, throws it off her, and runs out. And then realizes she's attracted the attention of something else. And I think you had texted me while you were watching it. It's like, oh, it's another lizard. Oh, shit.
No, I thought it was Kong.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's the thing.
Because it looks
I thought
like,
it was...
like he's being dragged out by his tail. Like Kong obviously like snapped it in half and went to save Han, right? Right?
No. This is a T-Rex, which, by the way, I would like to say. Thank you. I was going to make that reference, but for the better, not for... Because the thing is, there was a movie that also, even though, of course, by the way, the 1933 version, of course, also had dinosaurs, but still,
right.
Hear me out, though. But there was a movie that did something a bit like Jurassic Park, but did it in all the bad ways, and that was Godzilla. 1998's Godzilla. Came out when I was 35, and it was just really bad in how it kind of emulated Jurassic Park. Now, in this case, obviously, again, the original King Kong had dinosaurs, but the way they portrayed these felt like it was something out of Jurassic Park. I mean, what I did text you is I said, man, this T-Rex's agent gets him a lot of good work. I mean, he goes from Jurassic Park to King Kong. Like, this T-Rex's agent, man, he gets him some some big budget roles. I mean, Jesus. So either way though, but I think this was, the whole Jurassic Park mood and vibe done right.
Right, yeah.
Because it didn't feel like they were just making, because, the big problem with 98's Godzilla, in my opinion, is that it just felt like they were trying to make Velociraptor-type Godzilla creatures just to emulate that, just to give them something to do, and because of how big Jurassic Park was a few years prior. Where this, because it came out in 2005, it just feels as if it's like, no, this is just another creature on this island. And again, it's supposed to be a mysterious island with things you've never seen before. So, of course, dinosaur. Which, by the way, kind of funny that, like, if they had brought back a dinosaur in a similar fashion, I would think that'd be crazy enough for people.
Yeah, right.
You would think. Not a T-Rex. Maybe, maybe something more chill. Oh, the stampede of dinosaurs. We brought this up a little bit earlier.
More chill. Yeah, sure. A T-Rex is more chill than a giant ape.
I said not a T-Rex. Something more chill.
Oh, I see. Like one of the apatosaurs.
Yes. Question. With the stampede, we brought it up a little bit earlier. With the stampede, I know we actually have not lived with dinosaurs, but we've studied what we've been able to study. And we've hypothesized what we've been able to hypothesize. Would large dinosaurs like that stampede away from smaller velociraptor types because it's like, oh, well, we're hungry, so we can still take you down with our big teeth. Even though we're small, we have big teeth. Would they be stampeding like that, or is that just a thing where they were like, hey, we got to make tension?
Yeah, that was more for the movie magic.
Yeah.
Like, raptors... packs can take down larger prey, but I don't think their first choice would have been a herd of sauropod. Like, they would have gone for the old or the sick or one of the young, or something smaller, because they wouldn't have been able to damage an apatosaur, or any sauropod really, enough to bring it down.
Okay.
That was
asking.
And even if they were, let's say they were going to stampede away, they would not have gone down into that ravine.
Thank you.
Because they know it's like, I am too large to run away effectively in here. And it also puts them single file. It makes them more, easier to target. They would go out into an open space and disperse. Yes,
because look, they know their island. We don't know their island, but they know their island.
Right.
It seemed anti-preservation, to their species, to their code, to the genetic code, to be like, it would be like if they were like, let's run into the water. You will drown there. We know. What? Wait, what? Do you want to do that then? No, we're trying to survive. What?
Yeah.
What? So you're trying to survive? Yes. And you're running into the water? Yes. You're close to drowning? I am. What is this guy's problem? So that's the thing. It felt as if it was, again, just for the movie magic of oh no, they're falling off the side of this cliff. It is not stable enough for them. And I'm like, then they wouldn't have run onto it. I thought.
Yeah.
Especially that many of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I didn't know if they were just trying to replicate the idea of, oh, no, it's a running animal. Like if it was like a herd of buffalo. You know what I mean? Like, I think they wanted to emulate that idea of, like, it's a herd, like in Lion King, like, it's a herd of them. Oh, no, they trampled. Right. They trampled them. Good God, they trampled them. That was I think that's what they were trying to go for. Because, I mean, if it's buffalo versus a velociraptor, I think they're running.
Yeah.
I think they're like, we're getting the fuck out of here. I don't know why it's a buffalo voice, but it is. Like, we're getting the fuck out of here. Anyway, so that's the last question that I had. I want to ask our dinosaur ape expert. By the way, I know you're going to be like, but I'm not a dinosaur ape expert. You are in comparison to compared to who we bring on the podcast. Out of all the people that have ever been on these podcasts, you are our dinosaur/ape/indigenous peoples expert. How does it feel?
Just say I've studied them more than anybody else you'd bring on.
No. Compared to all of them, you are our expert. All we need to do is just bring somebody else in your field to wipe it out. But as of right now, you are the expert.
Thanks for that. All right.
Hey, I wasn't talking about people you dig with. I was talking about people that run the digs.
I mean, either or.
Jesus.
Still no more than I do.
Anyway, anything you want to say before we wrap this one up? I think we don't have anything else to really add on to this.
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up.
All right. So, last thing I'll add, we've talked about a lot of different stuff about this movie, but we didn't really focus on the actors as much. I got to say, I don't think that the acting was poor. So I feel as if everyone did what they had to do. I think that they brought something special to the role. Again, I wish there was more of some depth in certain areas, but I don't think like Jack Black, let's say, was miscast. But I do think that certain times though, I think it was hard for me to feel like he's a smarmy, snarky piece of shit when there's just a certain Jack Black air about him. It's sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I was like, you're a dick. Other times I was like, yeah, that's Jack Black. So it's a bit rough because he doesn't want to be typecast, and I get it, and he wants to do something a bit more serious, and again, I get it. But there's certain parts of the movie earlier on, actually, I want to point out, very early on, like when he's having that dinner with Anne, or he's in that meeting with everyone else, those big wigs showing them what he's filmed so far, and there's some kind of energy that feels like it wants to burst out of him. That's just my take on it, and it felt like it was pulled back Black. Like it was pulled back Jack Black. And I think throughout the movie, I don't really see it as much. Or I don't see anything like that as much. But there were just certain parts early on where it felt like he was just about to, when they're all like, well, you better provide us something or else. It just felt like he was about to get ready to be like, how about I provide you this? And just rolls his middle finger like it's a camera. What was that?
Right, yeah. No, reaching into his pocket and just flipping them off.
Exactly. Later, douche nozzles. It just feels like that's what was going to happen.
Right.
And so, and even when he does, little stuff, he's like, Anne, can I call you Anne? It's just this little, Jack Black just coming out from the confines of his character. So I'm not saying he can't... I'm not saying he can't do serious. I'm just saying that me enjoying his work as a child, things like School of Rock, I grew up to enjoy him in Tenacious D. So seeing that, it's hard to see him doing this and not think of him just flipping them off, all of them. Just, oh, look at that, I'm turning, finger still up. It's just him fucking with them completely. Where even on the ship, I'm just it just feels like there was always, not always, but there was certain points where it's you could the one scene that was really funny when he's just getting the date wrong. Oh right, 2000, not 1000. Wait, is today the 25th? No, it's the 25th.
Right.
Look, you know what? Fine, whatever. I will take the money later. And he's doing that just to stall him to get write the rest of the script.
Right.
So it's
afterwards when he when he's stuck on the boat, and he's like, "Come on, man. If you had really loved her, you would have jumped."
My God.
Man.
Yeah, so it's hard because, you want to hate this character, but I think, even though he wasn't exactly the same character one-to-one, but I have to say, someone like John Goodman can really, he wasn't the same one-to-one, but he was as close as they got for the, I mean, unless you want to say the environmentalist character that Brie Larson's character played was somewhat similar. But I think, when you think of the person who is heading the project, i.e. we're going into this no matter what, and we're not telling you guys what's actually going on here, that's a bit more of John Goodman's character from Skull Island. Even though he's John Goodman, so he's always, he can be super-duper smiley, super-duper fun, lovable character. You've seen him in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and you've seen him in Skull Island. He can bring this beast from inside him, this something, this certain something that I feel like Jack Black was not able to do. And again, I'm not saying that that's what he was told to do or that's what he wanted to do. I'm just saying that it was very hard for me to fully commit to, fuck this guy, but his actions were all of that, though. Like, what he did, I'm like, no bueno. He's not a good man. But there's something about how he was acting about it that it just always felt like I wanted to give him the benefit of the Jack Black doubt. Like, but it's Jack Black.
Well, because I feel like there should have been that moment, like you said, where somebody gave him his comeuppance. Like, I feel like if his assistant had, socked him in the face and been like, you're an asshole. You've gotten so many people killed. You're still talking about this goddamn movie. You don't even have any of the money that you promised anyone here. Like, what do you think you're fucking trying to pull or that you're going to get away with? Everyone knows you're a piece of shit. Like, it's kind of like what the captain had said to him when he's like, when he calls him a cockroach, and he's like, they always find some way to climb back out of the bowl, and then the character just goes to him and it's like, well, I'm out of the bowl, motherfucker.
Oh my God. So yeah, it's
I thought for sure he was going to shoot him. Like, in the foot, not in the head or anything, but just, in the foot. Just, you talk to me like that again, and I will kill you.
Yeah. So that's the thing. There was definitely something lacking, but I don't think it's necessarily on Jack Black, necessarily. I mean, maybe they didn't tell him to do that, right? But it just felt like there was something that, there's some either miscommunication or there's something that didn't click, I think. But it doesn't necessarily make this, the worst movie ever. What was kind of saddening, though, as we're wrapping this up, very sad, very kind of depressing, but also in a weird way comical. I guess maybe my brain was trying to just process it all. The amount of what were the dinosaurs called again? The really large ones that were stampeding.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they would have been a Patasaurus.
Patasaur. Okay, so the Patasaur pileup.
Yeah, no, I blocked that from my mind. Like, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, no, not this again.
Well, it's a weird mix of this is really, really sad, but then my brain told me it's like someone's playing bowling in Flintstones. And then I was like, that's funny. Thank you, brain. This is dealing with a traumatic experience in a very calm way.
Yeah.
But, so
no, that was kind of rough. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I remember this movie being brutal. My memory lives up to it.
Yes. And also, speaking of Jack Black's character, I have the movie on in the background, as I always do while I'm talking about this stuff. So you see Jack Black's character look at a character die. I think it was his cameraman, and he's mortified. Like, oh, my goodness, he's dead. And you would think maybe it's like a turning point. I don't know. Like, there's something different.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He never even had, a moment of clarity.
Yeah, for him, it felt like he was kind of close to that guy. Like, he was one of
seems like he cared.
His oldest business partners. Like, he actually cared about him, and it's like, oh, fuck, I can't believe I let him die. Like, he actually legit tried to save him. He wanted to. And then he's like, no, go on without me. It's like, no, you idiot.
And you see the look on his face, but it just seems like there was never a turning point because Jackson was, in a way, he was tethered to the original plot. So it's like, well, he has to bring him over because why wouldn't he? It's like, because you see the look on his face. It's not like, I don't know, what can you do?
Right, yeah.
So I think maybe there definitely was some conflicting. I don't know. Maybe there were different cuts. Maybe there were different ideas. I don't know. But it definitely seemed like there was some missing link. Ha 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 ha. That's a funny joke in relation to the island, with all of the creatures like the dinosaurs and Kong. Missing link. That's fucking funny. All right.
Whatever you say, buddy.
You know what? Listen. All right. Shitty jokes killed the Walter. Anyway,
You're right. It did. But...
How dare you? All right. So anyway, anything you want to say? I'm gonna officially wrap things up. Our 5th time saying it. It's like we've had 5 different iterations of it.
Well, I can't say anything, Matt. I'm dead. I died.
Right.
I'm
thank
dead.
goodness.
I died. I'm dead. So thank you.
I've died from being. People die when they are dead. Anyway, so
I died from
He died from joking Terry. So, anywho.
Oh my God.
Thank you all so much for listening in, as always. I don't know how you listen to this. You may have listened to this episode of Friday Night Movies through our Blog Talk Radio account, blogtalkradio.com/thoseguysontherradio, or maybe you found it days, maybe a week or so later, on our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio. Or heck, maybe you went on our iTunes, you searched up Those Guys on iTunes, and you downloaded it there. Regardless of how you got it, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for listening to us talk about all of this in this way, helping us be us, and hopefully you enjoy the episode. Now, if you're watching this, I believe on our Blog Talk Radio you can comment just like you can on our YouTube channel. So if you've gotten this far, comment down below on what you think about the movie, what you think about us talking about the movie, what our opinions, all of that stuff, what our opinions are, all of that stuff. Please comment down below. We would love to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to mention quickly as we wrap this up, we have our Twitter at Those Guys Radio, our Facebook, facebook.com/thoseguysontherradio. You can either contact us there or definitely suggest stuff there. You could also suggest stuff through our Patreon, patreon.com/TG Productions. Just different stuff we can do in the future on either our Those Guys on the Radio channel, our TG Productions channel, and our Those Guys Play channel. So thank you all so much. Love you all. And tune in next time for something completely different. I literally don't know what it'll be next. We're recording this in advance. I have no idea. But tune in to find out. So, good night, everybody. Say goodnight, Tristan.
Not even the Kong knows what's next.
But the Kong died. We're going into this without a shit. Which shit. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.